Alright, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Obviously that movie came out it's over a month. It came out over a month ago, and I saw it when it came out, so this is super duper late, but let me just show you something real quick. Does this look like the house of a guy who cares about timing? Obviously, based off the title of this video, you already know my opinion of this film, and let's just go ahead and start talking about why. Alright, so among my many issues with this film, and I'm not usually this kind of person, I almost didn't want to make this video, not only because it's been more than a month since the movie came out, but also because I did not want to be categorized based on either my thumbnail or the title of this video as one of those, sorry, I'm scratching my neck, the back of my neck. My back. One of those fanboys that just enjoys hating on this stuff. I really don't like hating on this stuff, but sometimes they make it so easy and it's so delicious. It's so fun to do so. But anyways, what the fuck was I saying? Oh, excuse me. What the heck was I saying? Anyways, so the first thing that I want to talk about is the Sith Finder. It comes up super duper early in the movie, and I think it's responsible for an hour, maybe a little more than an hour's worth of plot in this film. They called it, first of all, exactly what it was, and not since like peanut butter have I heard a more like put one and one together. This wouldn't like Sith Finder. Oh, that's what it does.
The girl from the Xerox place, buck naked, or a big tub of jam.
Put your hands together.
It's such a convenient plot point, right? All of a sudden the Emperor comes back. How do we find him? I don't know. Let's use the Sith Finder. And they spent so long doing it, and that leads me to the other major issue I had with this movie. In order to find the Sith Finder, they have to find the thing before that will lead them to the Sith Finder, right? Obviously. And then they get that, and then they have to do another thing, and another thing, and another thing to finally get to the stupid Sith Finder. Alright, so to wrap it up, basically, it was a very convenient plot point that gave birth to little smaller plot points that didn't really do anything except eat up time. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is, it's something that I thought they would have learned from episode 7, especially since J.J. Abrams, I guess, was technically responsible for both, right? So it was the Knights of Ren, right? Sorry, whoa, excuse me. I was trying to hold that back for like the past 20 seconds while I was talking. Anyways, so Knights of Ren. Or did I say Captain Phasma? Anyways, both of those things I'm going to talk about real quick. Knights of Ren, like that whole Ren thing, that was lost in translation. I don't know if it was like a folklore thing that they were trying to set up in episode 7, then episode 8 happened, which I don't think it's that bad, by the way, but anyways, episode 8 happened, well, plot-wise, it was super different. 8 happened, and then 9 had to like pick up, and they just missed everything in the middle, and they're like, oh, here are the Knights of Ren. I mean, maybe I wasn't paying enough attention in 7 and 8, but I don't know, it's been so long. Anyways, those Knights of Ren just kind of come up, they look super cool, right? But they didn't really end up doing anything except be like practice targets for Kylo Ren at the end. And the reason I brought up Captain Phasma is because it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. She was the same thing, right? She was like super cool. They had her on posters everywhere. And she does nothing. She barely has any lines. And then she dies at the end. Same thing with the Knights of Ren. They're not really explained. They're just kind of, or maybe they are explained and I didn't pay that much attention. Like, I thought they looked so cool, and so did Captain Phasma with that like shiny metallic stormtrooper armor. And a cape, actually. I think black on the outside, red on the inside. Some sort of sexy red velvet cape. So what else did I strongly dislike about this film? They were super mean to C-3PO when he had his big sacrifice scene. If you guys know what I'm talking about, and I don't think I've referenced a single scene specifically thus far, but I will this time. In one of their side quests to find the Sith Finder, C-3PO has to translate this blade that's written in Sith in like the weirdest blocker in a film that I've ever, in like a big budget mainstream film that I've ever seen. All of a sudden he can't translate it despite all the languages he knows because it's in Sith and that's against his programming, right? Whatever, we'll let that go. No, we're not gonna let it go. So in order to be able to translate that, he has to do a hard reboot of his memory, and in the process of that, there's like a 90 million % chance that he's gonna lose his entire memory storage bank and he's gonna forget everything, start over from scratch. I thought it was gonna, like, is he dying? Is he dead? Did he turn evil? I don't know what happened, like, based on the trailer. Then I saw it in the context of the rest of the film, right? And found out what he was putting at risk, what he was sacrificing, and everyone was super duper mean to him. Poe, Finn, even Rey was mean to him. So really, the only conclusion that I can come to is that, are they homophobic? So hear me out, okay? Always hanging out with R2-D2. Medal, always very well kept, and here's some more evidence.
R2-D2, where are you?
I don't think I can make it. I'm done for.
Oh, wait for me! How rude. Oh my, noisy brute. Come back at once. You haven't finished with me yet.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong, of course, with being a gay droid. He might have been, you know, a Kickstarter, really, for droids across the galaxy to come out. But you think by all this time they've gotten over that. Anyways, no, in all seriousness though, I don't know why Abrams had them play it off that way. It's like, C-3PO has always been a bit of a punching bag, right? But when you have a character making a sacrifice for the benefit of other characters, right? I think it very odd to make the characters that C-3PO is making a sacrifice for kind of be mean to him. They were rushing him the entire time. They told him to shut up, and they didn't care about the risks that he was undertaking. He was literally just like expected to do it, and I thought that was really an odd directorial decision, and it made me like the characters less. Speaking of which, Poe, was he kind of an asshole in this one? So 7, he was really cool. 8, it was weird. They were playing like tag with spaceships, and he was like staging a rebellion, and I guess he kind of learned a lesson, which was actually, I thought, an interesting way to do it, but you didn't have to take the entire movie to figure that out. Anyways, and then 9, you find out he left a girl on the same planet they're on, actually, when they reboot C-3PO, and then he screwed her over, and then he takes the coin that she was given. That character, I don't even remember her name, by the way, completely out of nowhere. And I guess that's like, it happens, right? You have to introduce new characters, but her only purpose really was to deliver like, not even deliver, but to have a coin to give to them so that they could sneak onto a what is it even called? A galactic ship? Why am I not remembering? Anyways, yes, but anyways, back to the main thing. Poe, not very nice this episode, and it was kind of weird to see where they took his character. Like, he didn't have, that I remember, and maybe it's just because it wasn't super memorable, any big moments, any like heroic moments. They do that weird voiceover thing where he was like, we're gonna, you know, it's like that weird Independence Day thing where he's making a speech and it's intercut with people getting ready and all that stuff. I don't know, I felt like he didn't really have that much to do. He wasn't that nice. Didn't really like him this iteration. That also brings me to Finn. What the hell, man? Okay, so you set him up as a stormtrooper who has like a conscience, and it was like the first time we were getting, I guess aside from the original clone in episode 2, we were like, it was the first time we were getting a look at the people underneath the helmets, right? And it was actually like a really interesting way to look at it, that they were taking this whole thing in a different direction, whatever. And then they dropped the entire thing 2 episodes later. Like episode 8, they put him in a casino the entire time. And then episode 9, none of that really comes back into play, except for when they're on the planet with the fallen Death Star, and then he finds like a whole crew of other stormtroopers who have since left the I don't know what it's called anymore, the thing, and like they kind of bond over that for like 2 minutes, and that's it. I mean, he was still like a cool character, I guess. He's still good at what he does, but I don't know. Those 2 especially, I feel like they were left out to hang, man. Like, their characters were not done justice by the end of it, which is really sad considering J.J. Abrams was the one that like kind of kicked it off. So I have 2 more cons, we'll say, and then there were some things that I actually liked about the movie, right? So I'll mention those at the end kind of briefly. The first thing I want to talk about before I get to like my biggest issue with this movie was the lightsaber fight. The lightsaber duel at the end between Rey and Palpatine. Can you even call it a lightsaber duel? Because he didn't have a lightsaber, right? He was restricted to his lift chair, this futuristic lift chair the entire time, and he was like shooting lightning at her for, I don't know, 2-3 minutes straight, and she was blocking it, and then they go like back and forth between their faces, and she's like, and he's like, and then anyway, so he's like doing that for 3 minutes, and then she gets, I forget the order of him. Either she gets knocked out before he does all the lightning stuff, and then she comes back and then is struggling, or she's struggling, gets knocked down, and then comes back up. But either way, it ends with her doing like this with the one lightsaber, and then she's like, oh, you know what will really save me now? Whoa, another lightsaber. And I was like, then she like crosses them, and then, shoos off the lightning, just brushes that off. And then he's gone forever, I guess, this time. I don't know. Like, what the hell was that? How that's supposed to end? I don't know. When did this start coming out? 2000... I was in college, maybe. 2015? 2014? Is that when this started? Anyways, that's how they want to end it? Like, what the hell, man? And that actually, no. So here's the other thing. Rey being a Palpatine. When Adam Driver delivered that, like, news bomb, it was, I feel like they failed. I felt like they wanted me to be like, but literally I felt my eyes roll as soon as he said, you're a Palpatine. Because it's like, I don't know why every saga at this point, 1 through 3, 4 through 6, 4 through 6 is a pass because that's what started it. But ever since 4 through 6, everything has been this like backwoods shit where everybody's related to one another, and that's the only way to justify the storyline at all. And like I said in the beginning, way in the beginning, I don't know how long I've been talking at this point, way in the beginning, I understand that, episode 8 might have really screwed up the plans for whatever they were going to do with the entire saga. It's so hard because I don't have a solution, obviously, but I know what I don't like, and I didn't like this. But anyway, like, that was like this strange, it was, first of all, they brought him back, which I guess, like, they killed Snoke, so what else are you gonna do? I don't know. And then they bring him back, and then they make him the grandfather of Rey. And it's, first of all, like, who had sex with him? Okay? He was either, like, looking like this, which, I mean, I guess is fine, but he's still old. Or he's looking like this, and it's like, no, ew, right? Anyways, that's legit. Like, I actually did have that thought inside the theater. It was so odd to me that after that news was delivered, I literally sat there and I was like, who did this guy, man? That aside, it was, of all the things that they did in this film, I don't know why they had to make them like related. It's not, you can't keep, trying to catch lightning in a bottle. You can't just keep dropping the same kind of bomb over and over again. It's like, oh my god, mom and dad, I'm pregnant. But by your third pregnancy, no one cares, man. Whatever. Oh god, actually I'm remembering more stuff that I didn't like as I talk. When Chewbacca was being captured inside, or by Kylo Ren, whatever, and then she was going back, it was her and Kylo Ren going back and forth, actually, I'm gonna stick with that. Back and forth with the ship, and then all of a sudden she shoots lightning out of her fingers. I was like, whoa. That time, I was actually like what they wanted me to be, which was surprised, right? And I thought, and she was having all these visions of her becoming a Sith and stuff like that. So I was actually really excited because in my head, I was like, are they finally going to say explicitly in a Star Wars film, not in the canon or whatever, in the films, that you can find, like, you can balance the dark and the light successfully? Is Rey going to be that person, right? Because the entire time, 4 through 6, 1 through 3, they're like very much black and white. You're either the Sith or you're a Jedi, right? There is no in between. But I thought since she did the thing and then she was like kind of having this battle, I thought finally at the end she's going to reconcile those differences and be like, okay, no, there isn't just the dark and there isn't just the light. You can use both to become a stronger, I don't know, Beyonce type person. They played it super safe and it was good versus evil. There was no great, and in general, I'd say that's what interests me and a lot of people the most. Isn't like a clear-cut villain and a clear-cut good guy. It's the people who operate in that gray space, right? And I know I set myself up for that expectation, so it wasn't fair for me to judge the film based on what I thought it should be right then and there in the theater. But I couldn't help but be disappointed by that. I was really looking forward to them finally exploring that gray side. Apparently Qui-Gon Jinn did, and I watched like a couple of videos on him because he's actually my favorite Star Wars character. But apparently he did it, right? And I thought they were finally gonna be like, hey, you can do it, but whatever.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Okay, so that was a lot more negatives than I remember thinking in the theater, but I've had like a month to think about this, not on a daily basis, of course, just in general. And like I said, like the title says, I only strongly dislike this movie. There were a couple of things that I did enjoy. And first, the performances by Oscar Isaac, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and of course Adam Driver. This lightsaber fight on the sunken Death Star, it looked really cool. I don't think it was that good of a lightsaber fight, but it looked really cool. And when I saw the trailer for the first time, I was looking forward to that scene in particular with, all the crashing waves and everything coming down, and then Rey and Kylo Ren fighting. Also, that reminds me, another thing I did like was, it was probably actually divisive among people, but that whole mind meld thing that they were doing, that like Dragon Ball Z, Majin Buu, like whatever, where they could fight each other in their own minds, I guess, was actually really cool, especially when they're inside that weird cave thing. And, they're like back to back, and then Rey drops Kylo Ren a lightsaber. Thought that was actually really cool. I kind of wish they had more of that, actually. There were only 2 scenes that I remember. One, when Rey's inside his ship, and then, which isn't a double entendre, that was literal. And the next was when they were inside that weird cave thing. And actually at the end of it, I also liked when Finn was like leading the charge on the Death Star on those weird like little animal things. I thought that was really cool, like Star Wars type cows. That was really cool. But to wrap up what is probably a pretty long video at this point, I overall strongly disliked Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. It was a lot more disappointing to me than I thought it was going to be. I saw like early reviews of it from other YouTubers and stuff, and I thought like, okay, they didn't like it, but it couldn't be that bad, right? It was bad. It was lazy writing, I think. And like I said, I know they were handicapped from the beginning because of episode 8, but there were just so many things in here that you couldn't ignore that were choices made independently, I think, of episode 8, that really you can't let it go, and you can't let none of it meshes with the rest of the saga they were trying to set up. So I don't know if they're going to make another 3 episode saga of Star Wars. I know it's not going to be by D&D from Game of Thrones, so that's cool. But if they're going to make another one, I hope they leave the backwoods, everyone's related stuff behind, and just kind of get more original with it. Either way, obviously you guys have probably already seen this film, so just let me know below what you guys think, what you thought. Leave a like, subscribe if you really, really want to, if you really want to take that to the next level with us. And I'll see you next time.